Hi class, today I'll be presenting the article which is increased satisfaction with care and lower costs. Results of randomized trial of in-home palliative care. First, I will summarize the article for you guys. The article elaborated on a study designed by the authors. The authors of the study firmly believe that the absence of research on the effectiveness of palliative care restricted the incentive of healthcare providers to adopt in-home palliative care. So in order to prove this, they designed the study to show how in-home palliative care increases the satisfaction of patients and to compare this care with usual care with regards to costs, effectiveness, and satisfaction. They randomly selected a lot of end-of-life patients who were expected to live no longer than a year, assigned one half of the patients to receive palliative care and another half of them to receive usual care. And finally, they compared the results in a timely manner. So according to their study, patients who received palliative care showed a much higher satisfaction towards the services they received than those who enrolled in usual care services, which means palliative care is more popular than usual care services. After I read this article, I think the authors did a really good job to eliminate bias and inaccuracy in the test and the study. And they implement a very strict screening method during the selection process. At the same time, they explain the purpose and the measurements of the study very well in order to let readers better understanding the study and the article. In the first part of the paper, they introduce the preparation of the study, how participants were selected, what measurements were used in the process, and how they plan to measure the outcomes. So they did a very good job in explaining the whole study. However, I believe that the authors might have been too cautious when randomly choosing participants that the results are actually biased from three perspectives. According to the paper, participants were chosen from two healthcare organizations, one located in Colorado and the other in Hawaii. These participants must have visited emergency department within a year and must have a score of 70 or less on the palliative performance scale, which was the measurement that the authors used in this study. Although this process looks pretty legitimate, it caused possible inaccuracy in the following two aspects. First, palliative care is not a care service that specifically targeted patients who are going to die very recently. So it's not right to only measure patients in extreme conditions when all patients are eligible to receive this kind of care. In addition, the definition of satisfaction is perhaps different for patients who have years ahead of them to enjoy life compared to those with less than a year to live. Also, we can see from the baseline characteristics table that there were some variations between patients in Colorado and those in Hawaii. So if samples from more states and cities were taken into consideration in the study, a large standard deviation might have shown. Meanwhile, I think the method of the study was not the best way, and the results were inaccuracy from four perspectives. First, their data were gathered through phone interviews and were from caregivers when patients could not answer the phone call. The data were based on patients' expression and thoughts at the moment they spoke on the phone. So they might give different opinions during the phone call based on their emotions. Second, most people do not express negative ideas directly. especially during an interview, even though they might think differently. In this way, the data were basically second-hand information and may result in inaccurate outcomes. Finally, the authors believe that cost of care was one of the reasons why patients favored palliative care. However, people's satisfaction is always being compared with what they have to give up. For example, if I spend $10 on a service and receive a service that worth $20 in my mind, then I'll be 200% happy. But it doesn't allow me to compare my service with that service by someone else who spends $100 and is dissatisfied with the $90 service. So it's really unfair to compare two different kinds of service that cost different in the first place. And if you simply look at the results, the satisfaction rate of usual care actually increased more than that of palliative care. That means the results of the study should be reconsidered. Here are my discussion questions for the class. First, do you know the differences between palliative care and hospice care? Because according to a study, I found out that a lot of people don't know the difference between these two kinds of care. They think they're just the same kind of care received in their end of life. So in order to better understand the article, I hope you guys can know the differences between palliative care and hospice care. 2. During your end-of-life care, if doctors or other professionals could do one thing other than cure your illnesses to bring your quality of life, what would it be? 3. As your illnesses progresses, how much do you want to know about your disease and the treatment options? This is all my presentation today. Thank you for you guys listening. Have a nice day.